Yeah, we've got mixed reviews over the last year and a half, Dave, on our international and overseas visitations. Some are up, some are down slightly, and it's a combination of things. I think it's not only administration and the rhetoric that we've listened to this last year. Certainly, the U.S. dollar has to take a little bit of the blame on that as well. But it is concerning because we've been on a long, wonderful growth spurt on international visitations, and we would hate to see that continue the other direction.
Now, what form does that take? Is that fewer arrivals at SeaTac? Is that fewer cruise ships stopping? I mean, where do you notice the most difference?
No, I think it's not the cruise industry. I think it's really in visitations coming in either through SeaTac or across the border from Canada or coming up the West Coast. So it's not only just SeaTac arrivals. And we're seeing it probably across all channels, that from some countries we're seeing dips, we're seeing reduced spending, and that's exactly why I think the industry in the U.S. is concerned and trying to figure out some ways to really get through to the Trump administration about the power of travel and why it's so critical to employment and everything else that is great for our country.
How do we know that this has to do with President Trump, though?
Well, I don't think we could say it's because of the president, but I do know that in the new administration's first year, what we've seen is that there hasn't been interest from the administration standpoint to really be a welcoming voice to anybody around the world necessarily on international arrivals. And the constant talk of bans, certainly legitimate and sometimes maybe not legitimate security concerns, all of that is a recipe for uncertainty. And I think if there's one thing, Dave, that hurts international travel and decision-making planning is uncertainty of where you're going. And so I think it's a combination of all of those things. And I think we could look back to even 2015 to see some countries starting to slide a bit. So I don't think we would say it's just the administration.
Yeah, because he hasn't said don't visit. He's just said don't stay.
Oddly enough, the USA has had an organization called Brand USA, which started in 2010. And that was an organization created for the sole purpose of advertising and promoting visitations to the USA around the world, is working sometimes against this message that maybe not everybody is welcome.
Yeah. In terms of the impact on jobs, what has that been?
I'm not sure, Dave, if I could give you a number on jobs specifically to the international side. I know the forecast would be that if you look at losing a share, and I think the numbers that the U.S. coalition has said, we've seen a 3%, slightly over 3% drop in spending, equating to upwards of $32 billion in spending. That certainly can have an effect on jobs. I would think the beauty of what we're experiencing here in Seattle and the Northwest region is the economic health and vitality of almost every segment of travel, in addition to some countries that are up. Corporate business, cruise business, as we said, our meetings and convention business is really at record levels in Seattle. And so I think we're compensating for a lot of the downturn, or for the small downturn, with other sources of travel that are not really, that are actually good for employment.
So we're doing okay as far as you know.
I think we're doing great. We're certainly concerned. We travel, as you know, around the world. We have 7 key countries where we have marketing reps based in those countries, selling and promoting Seattle, the gateway to the Northwest and certainly the state. And we're hearing from them all the time about when there's news about bans, when there's rhetoric about America first. And we travel and we talk with travel writers, we talk with travel buyers, those that are responsible for creating itineraries and product to sell. And so we're hearing it more than we've ever heard it before. So it's a concern, and I think we are feeling it to some extent.
Now the question is, should the state of Washington get back into the tourism business? We haven't had a tourism office in years. Are you going to campaign for that?
Oh, we have been actively campaigning, and it's ludicrous that we are the only state without a tourism office. It's not going to necessarily help us in the Seattle and King County region, but there are outlying parts of our state that we promote heavily, from the Olympic Peninsula to wine country in the east to Mount Rainier National Park, that would benefit the most from the state program. And I think what we've seen is their market shares, respectively, around the state outside of the core Puget Sound region have not kept pace.
Tom Norwalk, who is the CEO of Visit Seattle. Tom, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave.
Just past 8 o'clock. It is at present 39 degrees at the Carter Super Studio. We're looking for showers today, rain Friday, and then a deluge comes Saturday and Sunday. 2 to 3 inches of rain. Again, heavy rain on Monday and tapering off by Tuesday. So that's a pretty darn wet outlook. Just the best I can do. 13 past 8 o'clock. Traffic now brought to you by Budget Batteries. And here's Jill Dietrich.
Crews are working to remove a collision that's blocking all lanes of northbound 167 at 212th. Traffic is solid from 277th all the way up to that scene. You will want to take an alternate route, perhaps hop on 18 or the Kent Des Moines Road, head over to I-5. That'll save you time as the northbound 5 commute is winding down through the Midway area. Still a bit heavy down the South Center Hill, and you're bumper to bumper from Mid-Boeing Field all the way through the downtown Seattle corridor. Southbound 5 getting heavier through Mount Lake Terrace all the way down to Mercer.
The university said reviews by campus police, the FBI, and the U.S. Attorney's Office have not resulted in criminal charges against anyone at the university other than Larry Nassar, who was fired September 2016.
Yet.
Yes is perfect. The president of the university, who declined a raise in December and agreed to put the money in a scholarship fund and create an additional $10 million fund for mental health services for the girls and young women who were assaulted by him over the years. Has apologized numerous times to his victims, including in the first paragraph of her resignation letter. But again, what is so chilling about this is how this happened for so long. Now, you and I were talking about, the Harvey Weinstein stuff goes back more than 20 years. You kind of understand how, women who had been taken advantage of by someone like this and wanted to save their careers or not be blacklisted would play down the significance of what happened. A couple led by, what is her name?
Rose McGowan.
Rose McGowan was the first. But even she stayed quiet for a while. But this, here we're involving, teenagers who were like on the spot telling their coaches or telling their moms or dads, telling...
I'd be interested, John, knowing how many of them actually told their parents and their parents' reactions to this. Now, I understand that some of the gymnasts and the athletes would have thought, gee, if the doctor says something bad about me, my career could be over. Much as we think some of the actresses and women in Hollywood harassed by Harvey realized the power Harvey had over their careers and took their careers over reporting a monster. But I'd be really interested in wanting to know how many of these girls told their parents, gosh, I'm 14 and the gymnast in training are 16 or 18 and this is what he did to me, and the parents either, shoved it off and said, well, we can't tick the doctor off because he get into your career, or how many just didn't believe their daughters, or if they did believe them, who they went to, and they weren't believed. Because I just find it hard to believe there's a shroud of silence over the 20 years or however long it was, and over the hundreds of girls that he dealt with and the hundreds that he molested. I can't grasp silence in that.
Here's what I can't grasp. Again, I'll read this paragraph to you, or this sentence to you. Former Michigan State gymnastics coach Kathy Klages resigned last year after she was suspended for defending Nassar over the years.
Over the years, so these allegations obviously came up.
And so, I can understand the first time you said, well, are you sure this isn't just like a misunderstanding? You're on the physician's table? I mean, Dr. Nassar's highly respected. I'm sure that there's a rational explanation for this. For heaven's sakes, look at the position he holds. So I can understand the first time giving the benefit of the doubt, to the coach. You still want to check it out, but I can understand your initial position. Say, well, but the second time,
you start to smell smoke the second time,
and then
the third time.
Over the years, I said, wait a minute, something is really wrong here.
Third time you call 911, John. Give them the benefit of the doubt first time. Smell smoke the second time. Third time you call 911 and you end it. And that wasn't done. for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I hope they can live with themselves.
Well, anyway, as you probably know, gymnastics was my sport in school because I was too small to do anything else. I was one of the really was one of the smallest people in my sophomore class. I was 5'0", 94 pounds as a high school sophomore, which means I was not technically big enough to be a 98-pound
You've grown 2 inches and gained 40 pounds since then.
That's right. Can't do some of those gymnastics moves quite as well today.
When you reach the golden age, John,
when
it starts to get creaky, those joints.
You want to know how to horrify my wife? When I say, honey, watch this. Honey, remember when I was in gymnastics here? Yeah,
that's right. Here, look
hold
what
this.
I used to be able to do.
Watch this. Oh, my God.
That's right. I used to be able to do this, and then she has to call the doctor for traction.
So I really hope that the Gymnastics Federation, USA Gymnastics, gets back on its feet soon. It should.
I hope so, too.
Because this looks like just, a lot of people who are not paying close enough attention and taking this stuff seriously. They need to step away. I think it was good that this president at Michigan State be the start of.
Let them wake up, John. That when you hear from a 16-year-old, or an 18-year-old, or 14-year-old, something funny's going on, it probably is going on.
Something funny probably is going on. All right, it is 19 minutes after 8 o'clock. Kirby, you heard about the license tab relief bill being passed by the legislature.
Yeah.
You and I might be the only people rolling their eyes in the news media about this because we have been covering this story since last year when the bill that passed the House yesterday was the alternative bill to real car tab relief that the Democrats were desperately offering as an alternative so they could do as little as possible to actually give people relief.
This is the Sound Transit Relief bill. We can call it the Sound Transit Relief bill because the relief's not going to the taxpayers. The relief's going to Sound Transit because they should pay back a lot more than this. They robbed the taxpayers of much more money than this will ever return to the taxpayer. And it was robbery.
So here's what it means. Your license tabs that almost tripled, in some cases did, in 1 year's time, courtesy of Sound Transit 3, you now will get a break of about $35.
And keep in mind that this bill was brought to you by the very same people who first proposed you could pay your tabs in monthly installments.
Yeah, they didn't want to give you a break at all. They said, how about you just pay in installments?
Yeah, kind of like a mortgage. You mortgage your car for Sound Transit.
So
think about that.
So, as things go, the attempt to do as little as possible last year, what is traditionally called in politics a fig leaf, that did not pass last year, that is now the, quote, Sound Transit Relief Bill this year.
This is not a fig leaf, it's a twig. Yeah. I would call it even a twig, John. I'd go lower than you in a fig leaf because it's minimal relief. There could be more, but the Democrats are too tied in with Sound Transit, the idea of rapid transit, the idea of light rail, the idea they're tied in with the establishment, and they can't buck the establishment on behalf of the taxpayer.
So here's the, cutting to the chase, which again, none of the stories that I've seen are doing. Your license tabs will continue to more than double and maybe triple. But on the other end, they'll take $35 off your bill.
That's right. You get $35 back on your $700 tabs that used to be $200. So kudos. Shall we clap? Shall we stand up and applaud what the Democrats did?
Is everybody happy? It is 22 minutes after 8 o'clock. John and Kirby Talk Radio 570 KVL.
Exceptional customer service and outstanding technicians are the trademarks of Kirkland Transmission. East of 405 in Turtle Lake. Go to kirklandtransmission.com or call 425-822-3131. That's Kirkland Transmission, 425-822-3131. Ask for Tony.
So that's too bad. I was thinking maybe you could offer to, be part of a foursome.
I mean, I think if he actually did hear it, maybe he'd go for it. You guys have some wonderful senators in your state that are very proactive about healthcare planning. I would love if, because we've already reached out to them, if you could reach out to your senators and say, hey, what about this proposal? It's a fresh idea. It is very, very cost efficient and cost effective, and we could come up with the money to do it easily. It would pay for itself in no time.
Dr. Carolyn McClanahan. Her article is called Community Health Centers, an Alternative Approach to Universal Healthcare. She blogs for Forbes, and I thank you for coming on. It sounds like a pretty good idea to me.
Okay, my pleasure. Thank you so much.
823 Real-Time Traffic is brought to you by Online Trading Academy. Here's Jill Diedrich.
Well, crews are working hard to clear this collision northbound on the Valley Freeway at 212th. Unfortunately, right now, all lanes are blocked, including the on-ramp from 212th to northbound 167. Traffic's at a standstill from 277th up to that scene. You'll need to exit off on Highway 18 or one of the side streets and head over toward I-5. Save yourself a little bit of a headache. Still crowding, though, northbound I-5 through the Kent Des Moines Road interchange, off and on down the South Center Hill. And you're slowing once again from about Swift-Alborough all the way up through the Convention Center. Southbound I-5 in the express lanes at Stewart, a disabled vehicle's got the left center lane blocked, and you're tapping your brakes from the Ship Canal Bridge down to that scene. The main line is going to crowd off and on through Mount Lake Terrace from 220th all the way down to Mercer. Westbound, our floating bridges in rugged shape still. I-90 slowing out of the Sammamish area, the Issaquah area, out toward Eastgate, and then again from the East Channel Bridge all the way out toward I-5, and 520 is heavy as well across the water toward I-5. Your drive time right now from Federal Way into downtown Seattle is going to be about 34 minutes real time. I'm Cairo Radio Real-Time Traffic, Jill Diedrich.
Traffic brought to you by Online Trading Academy. Attend the free power trading workshop. Text the word traffic to 57682 and register for ongoing Bellevue workshops and a Tacoma workshop February 7th at the Washington State History Museum. As for the weather, this will be a great weekend to cocoon. This will be a lousy weekend to hike unless you really enjoy having pruny skin, because it's going to rain really hard Saturday and even harder on Sunday. Right now at the Carter Subaru studio, 40 degrees, and coming up, 3 bills in Olympia take aim at sexual harassment in the workplace. Hannah Scott has the story next on Cairo Radio.
Finally, the Dory Monson Show. 23 years I've been doing this. Apparently, we're starting to get through some of these people down in Olympia. There's a hearing, and they have the head of the State Human Rights Commission on. Here's what she says as proof that she can be trusted to be fair.
I listen to Dory Monson so that I can have a balance in the way in which I look at how we do things in our state.
There I am, bringing some balance into this crazy state of ours.
Dory Monson, today at noon on Cairo Radio 97.3 FM.
It's the final.
Like Daniel's Broiler, world-class steakhouses. Hey, it's Kirby with John and Stephanie of West Coast.
And anyone who's listening to him a disservice by keeping them, encouraging them not to go to an event where they should show up to and ask tough, pointed questions of Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk is only 24 years old, so yes. I'm not exactly sure what, in terms of, he's not that much older than most of the kids he's talking to.
Is he talking to college campuses where they just agree with him? No. He's going to college campuses to hear from people, give his message, and then listen to the messages and answer questions from people in the audience, which presumably will include and should include, and I hope include, progressives and socialists and independents and Republicans, saying this is what you believe. Here's what I believe, now convince me that I am wrong.
I actually think Charlie Kirk is probably better off with this article being out there. There's going to be considerably more people that show up to his events than there would be otherwise. When I went to WSU, I once went to, they had the producer for the Batman series, and no one really showed up. I was there because I like the Batman movies. But that's the thing, I mean, these speakers show up, no one really comes. Charlie Kirk is better off if someone's dissenting in any way. They're acknowledging that he exists and is coming.
Are you going?
No, I'm not going to pull me.
See, okay, well then you ruined your own argument.
But we're talking about it, we wouldn't be otherwise.
I'm going. I'm going to make the drive to Pullman. We're going to try to get Charlie Kirk on the show. I'm going to try to get this kid on the show so I can smack some sense into him. Metaphorically, I'm not going to hit him. Relax. You're listening to the Jason Rand Show. Does the office of Senator Patty Murray, does she have an anti-Semitism problem? One activist says yes. We're going to talk to her when we come back.
never been more important than now to listen to us.
3 years ago, liberals in Seattle insisted on raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Now a study confirms what everybody knew except the left. Instead of helping workers, the minimum wage increase hurt them. And even with this fresh evidence, liberals will never admit that they were wrong. They'll find ways to inflict even more pain on the economy and kill more jobs. That's just what they do.
On AM 770 KTTH.
Okay, the mail comes to the Curly household every single day, and the one piece of mail that I hated opening, in fact, I used to keep pushing it off to the side, was the utility bill. I didn't want to see how much money, not what I had to pay, but how much I was wasting. That's what it felt like. Now, when I had Comfort Systems come to the house and put the Carrier whole house comfort in, guess what? I wish they would send me the utility bill every single day, because they compare last year to this year, and I'm like, look, the heat's on, the house is comfortable, and we're saving money. It's known as Comfort Heat Technology. Basically, by running on low stages for low periods, the Carrier Infinity system with the Comfort Heat Technology uses the least amount of energy to give you the highest level of efficiency while making you warm and comfy. Get that old furnace and replace it. Tell them Curly sent you. They'll knock 10% off. Turn to the experts with Carrier and MM Systems. Get 10% off. Call 855-MM-COMFORT. That's 855-MM-COMFORT.
Bickford Ford has done it again. According to new truck sales reports for 2017, Bickford Ford is the #1 Ford truck store in Washington State. At Bickford, we believe we're a little more than just a Ford store. Well, we're your neighbors. In fact, Bickford Ford has been part of the community since 1934, serving generations of Ford customers from Snohomish County and the entire Puget Sound. Our savings and consistently great service bring families back year after year. One example of great savings, a new 2018 Explorer XLT, stock number 180539. Save $2,000 in Ford factory rebates plus $4,170 with a Bickford discount. Get a new Explorer for $30,995, over $6,100 off MSRP. And Bickford has 16 new Explorers. Applies to Explorer in stock, subject to prior sale. Excludes tax and license. A $150 documentary service fee may be added to sales price or capitalized cost. Must finance with Ford Motor Credit to receive Ford Credit bonus cash. Restrictions apply. Offers expire 1/31/18. Details at Bickford Ford on Bickford Avenue in Snohomish.